We're going to probably use a rope, but this tensor's floating disc I keep reading about, is that just to carry miscellaneous small items? It can't carry the weight of a person?
It could carry the weight of a person, but you have to, I think you have to cast it adjacent to you. You're not currently adjacent to him.
So I can't use it to help him? Okay.
Not
so I think you want to try our rope thing?
Yeah.
Right.
You guys have a rope?
Yep.
He has it.
You all have adventuring
basic adventuring gear. I assume I got. Yeah, it's
I have a long
adventurer's
sword
kit.
hang onto it.
Ow.
So we'll tie off a rope to his long sword so that the two of us can get a grip on that sword, and together, hopefully.
All right. For you.
I love it.
So you are going to start your turn in the cold again. So you take some more cold damage to the tune of 9 points.
You might be losing him.
Now, am I in battle with this water? But I mean, can I use one of my healing surges, or am I?
In fact, you could use a healing surge, and so you can do both.
They could make a loop.
So yeah, because I've got.
This is what, when you spend a healing surge, it's called using your second wind. You have a second wind card, and basically you play that card and it's used up.
Okay.
Otherwise, the only other way you can get healing surges back is if you have a cleric who heals you or grants you the ability to use a healing surge, or you have a generous bard who has an ability that lets you activate a healing surge.
Well, so much for that.
So if you spend your second wind, it's gone for this encounter.
For this encounter with the cold water.
I have a
for this room, shall we say. But it's probably worthwhile.
I've got to use it. I've got 6 hit points left.
That ray of enfeeblement I used against the bat was an encounter power, so I can't use that again until a fresh
This is a new encounter technically, so you get it back.
Okay. And so this is our second or third.
Which actually reminds me, now that you've had your second encounter, you all get an action point back if you spent it.
Sweet.
If you didn't spend your previous one, you've actually got 2.
Wow.
And if you took any damage from the bat and you want to spend healing surges, you can do that now. I think you were the only one who got slashed by the bat.
But you can only use one at a time?
Outside of combat, you can use as many as you like.
I'm going to drop a healing surge on myself.
You know how in movies
One
where
more.
the guys
Outside of an encounter, I mean.
Okay, so am I in?
You're in an encounter.
Okay.
Yeah.
next?
Well, we counted for that a little bit.
There's 2 of us.
With the rope, you have no trouble.
Pretty big.
You have no trouble pulling the Warforged out with the aid of his own strength and his
Really?
rope. Yes.
Whew, thanks, fellas.
Don't you worry about it.
About what happened back there.
So keep this between the 3 of us.
The ice is now broken up, and it gets us up to you and me to finish the quest, and they'll be stopped.
Let's just go open that sarcophagus, get the shield, and get out of here.
Yeah, we'll just be back here pretending to be cool.
Or should we bring the rest of our team up, because there's bound to be some horror that's going to attack us.
You can certainly inspect the area a little bit more closely if you wanted to.
I'll do a little perception.
All right.
5 plus 7.
I'll perceive as well. 12.
Let me use the white one.
10.
Okay.
I've got 12.
Just for fun.
You can see that the sarcophagus has some arcane runes worked into it, as well as several locks on it. You think getting it open is a bit of a...
locks, you said?
Locks, yeah. Getting it open is a bit of a skill challenge for those of you who have arcana or thievery. There's obviously some magic pulsing through the circle that surrounds it. It's probably a defensive thing.
It's interesting the wizards can
Either
do
or both of you can make an arcana check as well.
Ooh, I have a little bit of arcanic numbers.
I have 0 arcana.
You can still try if you want.
24.
Wow.
That shit out.
10.
Totally arcana.
With your perception, by the way, you realize, yeah, that's real gold in those clawed hands.
We just lost Steel Diamond.
Your arcana check is really... He's gone.
Leave the friends. Take the money.
You think that if somebody tries to cross this or interfere with it, it could trigger some effect, a magical effect.
I'm going to keep that to myself.
You do know with an arcana check, though, that there are ways to disable this arcane circle. Using arcana, if you look at the runes etched in there, there's a whole bunch of dwarven glyphs.
You're not sharing that?
It may be possible to use thievery to scratch some of them out and ruin the glyph, the circle that way. It may be possible to use something like history to discern which of the glyphs actually are the source of the circle's power and which aren't, and bypass it that way.
I'm first going to walk over to that pot of gold and take a closer look at it.
All right.
As a bard, I mean money.
Yeah, you see within the claw, just full of what looks to be almost like offering, an offering made to, obviously, the guy who's entombed here.
Poke it with my longsword and see if the claw closes or some scary shit like that.
Why don't you make an offering?
offer?
You sort of stir the gold around and nothing adverse happens. I was going to say your Arcana check also reveals that these cold little miasma clouds, they're actually kind of helpful. They're sort of an after effect of some magic that was cast here. Almost, they're not meant to be here. But if you stand in one, you can channel the power of that cold energy through your attacks and deal extra cold damage.
Hey guys, if you stand in the blue stuff, it helps with this channeling.
So that you share.
Yes.
Hey, did you learn anything about here? Did you learn anything about that circle around the...
Their voices just sort of carry an echo.
They're apparently alive.
All right. And neither of you two have to make perception checks to hear, as the voices kind of echo around the room, a sound that sounds like...
Is that you?
It's a sleeping dragon.
Someone's got a baseball card?
It sounds like rapidly flapping wings or something.
Wow.
Wings.
He said somebody has a baseball card in their spokes.
Now,
I love that's where your head went.
this is going to be a disaster unless the rest of our team can get up here.
You gotta call Richie Rich back and get a rope down to us or something.
But nothing happens when you stir the gems, and the claw looks fairly rigid.
Should I tie off a rope up here
Do you guys have
to
any
help you
freezing
guys
spells
climb up?
to refreeze the water?
Yeah, that'd be great. I could use the help climbing.
Why don't I
I'm
help?
certainly willing to press
You could
on.
probably you probably have things like pitons or something. You could hammer one into the
Okay.
ground, tie a rope off, and then
Adventurer's kit.
Let me drag one of you guys
make
up.
a zip line.
Is there a hole in the ice, or the
The
whole
ice just
floor
sort of all
kinda
kind of
dropped?
broke away, so it's just sort of floating bits of ice now.
How to break again?
Oh, that's right.
Somebody had too many donuts at lunch.
I'm gonna bring.
Well, I can also cast the floating disc finally adjacent
Yes.
to me and maybe use that to go across. But
Yeah.
I think it can only take me.
One.
Me.
You're
Yeah.
the lightest, too.
So anyway,
All right, Jaundice, you're coming.
that's
up.
one problem solved. I don't know what you guys are gonna do.
I'm gonna.
You're like Magneto in X-Men.
Yeah.
Oh, he made it
I'm
up.
like He-Man in the Masters.
He's using his
Universe
tensor's
movie.
floating disc.
Can you send
Oh,
a disc back to take the other guy?
Can I try to bring up?
I jump on that
Kinukuk?
disc, travel, and then
Kinukuk,
Coily
what's
goes
her name?
"Wah," over the side.
I gotta look it up.
Pyramid.
Okay, so you fastened a rope on your
Are you
side.
sure you're not just reading your character class? Did you name your own guy? Yeah. Kainuksin?
Kainuk-sin.
I'm gonna bring Kainuk-sin up.
It's so big.
All right.
I was gonna say with the Smith's
So
laugh.
just a little bit
My
of
mother?
what's the sort of physics behind this? Have you tied a rope off somewhere?
I'm tying a rope around him so that I can drag him up.
So you're gonna pull him through the water? And
Yep.
Okay. That's the
What's
thought.
happening?
I've tied a rope around you.
Oh, lordy.
You've tied it around your waist. Then I'm going to pull.
Look how much heavier I am.
He's gonna pull you into the water.
You'll basically be trolling him through 3 squares of water to get to the edge of the cliff, and then
Hang
you'll be
on.
pulling him up.
Okay.
Oh wait, that water has a cold effect. What if I threw a rope down? He hammered it into the ground on his end. I hammered into the ground on my end, and he can just shimmy up.
Before you do that,
Bad idea.
You hammer
That could work.
Okay.
hey Jaundice, I noticed with my arcane senses that I apparently have that if you stand in those things, you get extra cold power or some shit. Do you think if you stood in there, you could refreeze the water and help these guys walk across?
Well, my Arcana of 22 corroborates this theory.
Yeah, basically, if you make an attack while standing in one of those things, you get to roll extra cold damage as a result of that attack.
Very good, which would imply that something in here is hopefully vulnerable to cold.
I would hope so. Or it's a trick.
I think
Sounds
I
good.
will be when you drag me through it.
You may not have mentioned it, but I also think if somebody were to cross through that room, that could be bad
It
news.
just seemed to me.
You didn't notice that?
Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
Kainuk-sin is coming up
Yep.
because we've done the rope trick.
Okay, no problem. Once you secure the rope, it's automatic success.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Ah.
Thank you,
Good
Tom.
job.
You're welcome. You're welcome.